Indeed, but I was thinking about ending it here. Perhaps it is the gloomy weather, but I am feeling the sting of wounds that should have healed long ago. The injury I got when that girl stabbed me after the battle at Gronder. Her eyes were filled with revenge, just as mine once were. I don't know, but I have a guess. Ah, I suppose I haven't told you about that yet. I was attacked inside the monastery the other day. It caused quite the uproar. The ones who attacked me were some of the youths we taught swordsmanship to once upon a time. It seems they were raised by a group of thieves we put down 5 years ago. I heard Lady Rhea took custody of them, claiming that the children were innocent. I have taken so many lives, and with each one I face hatred. During the last 5 years especially. My life was not so different from that of a wild beast. And that young girl's brother. At some point I must have... That is why I thought it only natural that someone would retaliate someday. Because I hated. Because I stole and... because I killed. But with those children, it's different. We drew our blades with the best of intentions, only to hurt them in the end. I suppose this is yet another thing we will just have to live with. Yes. As one who chose to fight, it is my responsibility to confront this anguish and the true nature of war, until the day my life comes to an end. Thank you. You know, Professor, there is something that I only recently realized. I never knew it could be so comforting to have someone standing by my side.
Oh, hey, Professor. Actually, I ran into that thief while I was shopping just now. Maybe you don't remember. It's been quite a while. The man who stole the book from that market stall. I saw him on the street with his kid. They were both so grateful. It's a really nice feeling. Yeah, but... it did seem like they were still having trouble getting by. I guess what you said to me back then was right. My actions didn't really solve the problem. I can't help everyone, no matter how much I try. If I had the money or power, maybe. But I don't. You know, a long time ago, Leonardo said nearly the same thing to me. I think it was when I tried to look after the horses all on my own. I really messed that up. He said, "You're not quite ready for this yet, but there's no need to rush." I know I can't help very many people right now, but I think doing what I can for those I see in front of me is still worthwhile. I have to believe that, at least. Thanks. That's reassuring to hear. What about you, Professor? Has anything been troubling you lately? I'd be happy to help, as long as it's not looking after horses. You might not want to trust me with that. I genuinely enjoy helping people. It's a great feeling making someone smile. So if there's anything I can do for you, I want to do it, because I care about you. I do. It's probably because you remind me so much of Lenato. So what'll it be? How can I help? Of course. I'd be glad to cook with you.
Oh, Professor. I didn't realize you were there. If we keep running into each other like this, people will start to talk. They'll say, Sylvain and the Professor are on the prowl. Forget it. What do you need? I fell for that girl recently, but I just wanted to have some fun and leave it at that. So, I told her we should break it off. I guess she was feeling a little more serious than I was. She started crying, and everything got a bit complicated. Come on, Professor. Playing around with girls is the most fun a guy can have. Besides, I don't care what you think of me. I don't intend to change how I live my life. I'm a good-for-nothing, if you haven't noticed. But I'm still a noble with a crest. That's all anyone cares about. It's best to avoid getting too serious with fools like that. It only leads to trouble. I'm gonna be forced into an arranged marriage with some random noble woman anyway. By the way, Professor, you didn't know you had a crest, did you? I see. I suppose a mercenary wouldn't be concerned with such things. Most children who are born to noble families are tested upon birth to see if they bear one. Even descendants of the 10 elites, like myself, can't be legitimate heirs without a crest. That means as children, we're only accepted if we're born with one. The heads of most noble houses keep having kids until they get one with a crest. Those children then grow up to be heads of their houses, and the vicious cycle continues. Do you get it now? To all these commoner girls, I'm just a trophy, or rather, a stud horse. See? I knew you'd get it. These girls don't love me. They love the potential rewards of loving me. If I marry a girl and she gives birth to a child with a crest, that kid might become the next head of House Gautier. But nowadays, with the bloodlines getting weaker, there are a lot of kids like my brother, born with no hope. For ages now, those of us with crests have been envied and desired, but never for who we are. I understand the value of my blood. Believe me, I hate how much I understand it. I know better than to dream of being free from this burden. I'm used to it by now. I used to think I didn't have the right to live freely. That's right. You know what? I'm a bit jealous. The whole time you were growing up, you never knew you had a crest. You were free. Nobody pretended to like you. I kind of hate you for that. You were a spoiled brat who should pay for that crest. Maybe I'll collect the debt. Gotcha! Wow, you should have seen the look on your face just then. Don't mind me, Professor. After all, ladies love a dark and brooding noble.
Dear Goddess, please allow His Majesty to rest in peace. Who is it? Oh, Professor. What brings you here at this hour? The hour is late, Professor. You should be resting in preparation for the day to come. I was offering my prayers to the Goddess. It is all that I can do now. I told you I was in service of the royal family, yes? When I was only a young soldier, the king saw fit to make a knight of me. I was given the great honor of guiding and protecting the royal family. It was similar to your own work. I was a teacher of sorts. I instructed both King Lambert and Prince Dimitri in the arts of combat, tactics, and academia. I also did all in my power to keep them safe. Until that day. I was unable to fulfill my duty. I was powerless. Yes. When I received word of the attack, it was already too late. His Majesty was dead, along with many knights and soldiers. If only I had made it to Duscur more quickly. It is my fault that His Highness Dimitri has become the way he is now. After that, I abandoned my wife and child and fled my homeland. I turned my back on everything I swore to protect. My sins are countless. I will bear the weight of my guilt for as long as I live. Apologizing to my daughter and wife, devoting myself to His Highness. That is the way to atonement. And yet, even if I am granted the forgiveness of those who still live, praying is all I can do to atone to those who are with us no more. Long ago, there was someone who told me something quite similar. Forgive me. This will not do. As I grow older, I find myself talking endlessly about the past. But it is too late for such things now. I have finished my prayers. We should return.
Thanks for your help out there. Battles tend to go smoother with you around. I think you did most of the heavy lifting. It may be unwise to think this way on the battlefield, but I feel I can trust your commands without question. Not sure. I might have an idea, but never mind. I've also noticed that you've been putting me in more precarious situations lately. Almost like you know I won't question your orders. No need. I'm glad you trust me to get the job done, but still, I knew you were doing it on purpose. You're in a very important position now that you're leading the charge against the Empire. Funny to think you used to just teach at the Officers' Academy. Your old students still call you Professor. That's no title for the commander of an army. Relax, I was just having fun. You sure are an interesting one. My people lost the war, and I was left to wander Fodlan alone, but I guess meeting you was my prize. You look confused. Did you not know any of this? I was living in my homeland of Dagda up until the Imperial Army destroyed it 10 years ago. But being a mercenary, I have no real allegiance. That's why I'm working here now. Don't worry though, I don't plan to turn on you.
Your Highness, you still have scars on your back. It does you no good to languish in pain. I will procure some medicine.
No, it is fine. Though they are still deep, these are from 9 years ago. They do not hurt any longer. Besides, it would be a shame if the scars I got from protecting you were to fade. I bear these scars proudly. It makes me think that it was worthwhile that someone like me survived.
To hear you say such things.
You say that I saved you. But do you know that you also saved me that day? If I had been unable to save anyone, I would have been the sole survivor. I would have had no reason to keep living. But I saved someone. Saved you. That and that alone has always been my crutch.
When I stood before those soldiers and their swords that day, I was prepared to die. But then, you suddenly appeared, and you shielded me. I knew then that a savior's hand could reach into even the deepest darkness. I still have not been able to repay that debt.
Have you not heard a word I've said? You have saved me in countless ways. 5 years ago, I did nothing but await my execution within my jail cell. Was it not you that saved me?
That was nothing more than my duty as your vassal.
Listen, Dedu, perhaps you consider me to be someone special, but I think the same of you. You are irreplaceable, cherished. So stop saying that we cannot be friends. Stop saying such awful things.
Please, do not look at me that way. You promised me you would build a kingdom that is proud to boast of Duscar blood. In this kingdom, where there is no distinction between the people of Duscar and the people of Fodlan, will I finally, without reservation, be able to call you my friend? Will I, Dimitri?
Dedu. Yes, you will call me your friend again and again, no matter how many hardships I must endure.
I will do all I can to bring about that world as well. To be your friend is what I have always wanted.
Is that so? I am glad to hear it.
But until that time, we must allow no harm to befall you. So please call upon me when you walk alone at night. And even when you go out in the day, please tell me where you are going and whom you are meeting.
In the end, I suppose there is no fixing your overprotectiveness, is there? I suppose I can live with that.
I have a question for you. Answer quickly before my hand slips and I cut you in half.
Always so ominous. Well, what is it, Felix?
Sometimes you have an animal's face, contorted with anger and bloodlust. At other times, a man's with a friendly smile. Which is your true face?
Do not waste your breath on questions with such obvious answers. They are both the real me. My father, my friends, Glenn, they all meant a great deal to me. And they were all brutally slaughtered. I alone survived. If I do not shoulder the anguish and regret they must have felt, who will?
So that's how you justify your atrocities.
What do you mean?
I will fulfill my duty to the late king. My old man used to say that over and over like a mantra. How nauseating. No one seems to understand. The dead won't acknowledge your loyalty. They don't care. What a load of bunk it is, pretending to serve a corpse. You're serving your own ego.
You are wrong.
No, I'm not. The dead are dead. The living are living. You have to respect that boundary. If you keep stringing gravestones around your neck, you'll snap.
Even still, I cannot forget them, nor can I let them go.
Then keep those thoughts to yourself. If you're too weak to do that, abandon your throne. Become a gravekeeper.
Felix.
I'm not immune to emotion, you know. Far from it. I haven't gone a day without questioning why my father and brother had to die, while I survived. I'll bear this pain until the day I die, but I refuse to wallow in it. I have more important things to do than blubber for my whole life.
You know, Felix, you really are growing more and more like your brother. Always so sarcastic and constantly looking for a fight. But deep inside, more than anyone, you...
What are you getting at?
Oh, it's nothing. But allow me to thank you. Your perspective has opened my eyes.
Not my intention. I couldn't stand the pathetic look on your face, that's all.
I see. If you say so, then we will leave it at that.
I'd better avoid the training grounds. I swear His Highness never sleeps.
You're out late, Sylvain. Is it safe to assume you've been wildly carousing with women? I'm afraid that behavior simply will not do.
Ah, Your Highness! Hello. No, I was not wildly carousing with women. There was only the one. Let's just forget you saw me. Agreed?
Unfortunately, I can't do that. It's time someone talked some sense into you. And it seems the task has fallen to me. Sylvain, I'm not saying you can't enjoy yourself at night. But you must learn the art of moderation. Again and again, you end up wandering the streets until the early morning.
Okay, I get it. I don't need one of your lectures. I've got them all memorized anyway. I promise I'll be better in the future. I'll stop going out at night, I'll attend all the strategy meetings, and in return, you'll go into town with me, and we'll invite some cute girls to dinner. Shall we shake on it?
The way your mind works absolutely confounds me. How did you even arrive at such a notion?
You need to get out more. Naive and uptight is no way to live your life.
Naive and uptight? Yes, well, compared to you, I imagine I'm downright run-of-the-mill.
I'm not so sure. Most men are experienced enough to know not to give a dagger to the girl they...
Will you never let that rest? It was many years ago. Perhaps a good knock on the head will help you to finally forget about it.
With your brute strength, a knock on the head could knock the life right out of me. You better watch that temper, Your Highness. So how about this? I'll try to behave, and you'll try to loosen up.
If I do as you wish, will you truly promise to improve your behavior?
What'd I just say? Of course I'll behave. A knight of Fargus never goes back on his word. What about you? I want to see you with a girl on your arm.
I am a man of my word. I will attempt to do as you ask. But you had better uphold your end of the bargain as well.
Seriously? Yeah, I'll believe it when he introduces me to the lucky girl. Oh, Dimitri, you always take even the silliest things so very seriously. This should be fun.
Good evening, Dimitri. Have you come to pray?
Something like that. And you?
Oh yes, that's why I'm here. I love how calm and peaceful the cathedral is this late at night.
It really is.
Coming here on a quiet night always makes me think of those who aren't with us anymore. We've lost so many in this war, too many to count. I hope they all get to live in eternal happiness at the goddess's side. These prayers are all I have to offer.
You are a kind soul, Mercedes.
I think you're kind too, Dimitri. Sometimes to a fault.
Kind? Me? No, not at all. I am just a killer. A disgusting monster.
But why do you kill? For the sake of your loved ones? Those who have passed? Real monsters kill for selfish reasons. They're incapable of expressing sorrow when they kill. So please, don't call yourself a monster.
Mercedes, I am scared. So scared that I will forget their faces. The people who have died. Who I have killed. I cannot let myself forget them. I know that, and yet... Whatever my feelings, it is all the act of a monster.
It's sad, but the truth is that people forget. You may be afraid to forget your past, but you'll never be able to revisit it. Living in the present is the best we can do. We owe it to those who can't come back.
If someone had said those words to me 5 years ago, I would be a different man today.
What do you want to do now, Dimitri? Continue fighting for those who have died? Not as a king, but as my classmate. What do you want to do?
My own dreams. I have never given it any thought. What about you? What do you want, Mercedes?
I want to keep sewing and training with you, even after you've become king. I want to be your friend.
But I have no right to stand beside you.
Please, I can't hear any more of this self-deprecation. I just want to be by your side. Is that so much to ask?
Mercedes. I want the same thing. If you allow it, I wish to stay by your side.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who feels that way. Let's spend a little more time here together, just the two of us.
Your Highness, I have one more favor to ask.
Is this about Gustav again? I have plenty more stories about him, but perhaps it is time for you to speak with him yourself.
Oh, it's not about Father this time. This time I wanted to ask about you.
About me?
I mean, I heard all about Father last time, but I didn't ask about you.
Ah, well, I'm afraid there is not much of interest for me to tell you.
Oh, it doesn't have to be funny or interesting. That's not why I'm asking. It's just that I thought I already knew you, but I'm not sure I really do. That day when we were reunited at the monastery, I didn't know what to say to you. So I wanted to prepare some of your favorite food. I thought maybe if you ate something that you liked, you'd cheer up a little. But when I got to the kitchen, I realized I didn't even know what you like to eat.
I see. Well, it's a little hard to say what my favorite is. I just don't really have any strong feelings about food. That said, you're pretty keen on sweet things, right, Annette?
Yes, that's right. I'm at my happiest when I'm digging into a sweet treat. Oh, did you know there's a famous sweets shop in the capital?
Yes. It often had long lines outside, didn't it? The castle guards often spoke of it.
The sweets were so good. They cost a fortune, but I loved them. When Father was still around, we all lived as a family in the capital. Since then, I've had them only a few times. How I'd love to taste them again.
Say, Annette, when this war is over, where will you go? I heard that you were close to Baron Dominic back in the academy days.
That's right. But that's not where I think I'd like to go when all of this is over. I reconnected with Father, so I'd like to live with my family again, in the capital. Also, if I'm in the capital, I'll be able to see you from time to time. Right?
Ah, that settles it then. We'll have to get your father working twice as hard.
Father's at a ripe old age now. I'd appreciate it if you didn't work him too hard.
Oh, of course. I will keep that in mind. Finally, you score a point against me on the ground. You have improved, Ingrid.
That was nothing more than a fluke. My technique was horribly sloppy that last round.
It does not matter what sort of technique it was. You won. If this had been a real battle, I would be dead. You wielded your lance well, without any hesitation. Has your approach changed?
You may recall when I said I'm now able to move on, because of you.
I remember. What did you mean by it?
That I finally understand a truth about Glenn. It sounds as though he died with a heavy heart. A heart that carried regret. I had suspected as much. But instead of acknowledging it, I twisted my memory of him to fit an ideal I've been upholding.
I see.
Your Highness, I will not sacrifice my life for anyone. But perhaps instead, I can live my life for someone. I will pledge my life to you.
And how exactly am I meant to interpret that?
However you please, Your Highness.
Oh? Well then. Ingrid, when this is all over, I want you to support and defend me. As my knight. I have been thinking of telling you this for a long time. We get along well, you and I.
As your knight? Yes, yes, of course. Of course I will. I intended to do so for the sake of the kingdom. Together, Your Highness. You and I. Our first order of business. Putting this tragic war to an end.
Yes. And while we're at it, do not die on me, Ingrid. Promise me that.
Yes, Your Highness. I swear it on my lance.
Gustav, it has been 8 years since I last called you by that name.
Your Highness, I must deeply apologize for leaving the kingdom without permission.
There is no need to explain, old friend. I can guess at your reasons. The tragedy of Dusker. You felt responsible for that incident and sought respite in the goddess, abandoning your name, rank, and homeland in repentance. Am I right?
I have no excuses to offer. It was all I could think to do.
I always knew you for a pious man, and I figured that if you were to leave, this is where you would end up. You have changed much. Your face does not have the same resolve it once did.
If I may, Your Highness, you have changed as well.
I can't disagree.
It was my duty to protect His Majesty, your father. Naturally, that also included Lady Patricia and yourself as well.
My father and mother are gone. No amount of regret will bring them back.
My dreams are haunted by the thought that, had I arrived at Dusker more swiftly...
You saved my life at Dusker. I have only gratitude for you, no blame to speak of. I wish for you to remain in the kingdom, Gustav, even after this conflict is over. I need your strength to help rebuild the ravaged land that Fargus has become.
Please, I beg your forgiveness, but there is no place left for me in that land.
I see. Though much has changed, your stubbornness remains. I have no desire to trouble you. If you do not wish to return, that is your choice to make. But I do advise you to at least visit the place of your birth, if only for your family's sake.
Yes, Your Highness. Thank you. I appreciate your concern. Ah, hello. Dedu, yes?
Finished praying?
I am, yes. You have grown much since I saw you last. You're a man now.
You barely know me.
True. I suppose we did only meet a handful of times.
As haggard as you look now, you were even worse when I last saw you in the capital.
Haggard, eh? True enough.
Still weighed down by the same regret, I see.
I was unable to protect the king. That is the ultimate failure. One I must atone for.
If you have the spare time to beg forgiveness, then pick up a lance and train.
That would do nothing to atone for the dead.
Your prayers are mere self-indulgence.
You do not understand.
No, I do not. Fargus needed you. His Highness needed you.
There was no other choice but for me to leave. What would you have done if you were in my place? If His Highness had died due to your failures?
If he commanded me to live, then I would live. Otherwise, I would die with him. I have nothing left to lose other than His Highness. Home, family, all but that man I have already lost. You were a knight in service to the king for decades. Not only did you excel in bravery, wisdom, and tactics, but in matters of character, you were an ideal knight, utterly above reproach. That is what His Highness has always said. I have only come this far by modeling my conduct after his stories of you. But now...
Forget those words spoken by His Highness. I am no different a man than I was before, beaten down by sin, alone and weak. I am lost and irredeemable. Is something the matter? Your heart does not seem to be in your training today.
I'm sorry. Something's been bothering me.
Idle thoughts do hinder training. Tell me what bothers you.
You were sworn to protect the royal family. But when we met 5 years ago, you weren't in the kingdom capital. You were in Garreg Mach. What could have made a great knight like you abandon his vow?
That is difficult to explain. You are aware of the tragedy of Duskar? When the king's party was massacred 9 years ago.
I am. It affected me too. My brother was suspected of being involved in the attack. And so the church, they...
Forgive me. That must be a difficult memory.
Why are you apologizing? It's not your fault.
I disagree. Had I been by His Majesty's side on that day where I was sworn to be, perhaps His Majesty would not have lost his life, and all would be different.
Is that why you left Fargus?
Yes. You may laugh, but I feel I was responsible for everything.
I would never laugh at something like that. But I do think you should have seen things through to the end. Even if you had to endure dishonor for a while, you could have restored your name. I'm sorry. That was inconsiderate of me. I got carried away by how much your situation resembles my own.
You were adopted by Lord Lonato, correct? I once told you that I wish to protect one thing other than my king. And that is my family. My wife and my daughter, both of whom I left behind in the kingdom. Lord Lonato took up his sword for his son, even if that meant turning his back on the goddess. As a father, I cannot condemn Lord Lonato for raising an army. Yet, perhaps he too lost sight of what should be protected, just as I did.
I don't understand what you mean. What should Lonato have protected?
You, Ash, because you are also his son.
You're right. I think I know what I need to protect now. It's been staring me in the face all this time. I don't know why I couldn't see it. I'm Lonato's son. His pride and his wishes are my inheritance. Those are what I should protect.
I see. Ash, you will be an excellent knight.
It's too early to say that, but I'm willing to learn if you'll teach me.
It would be my pleasure to oversee the training of a new generation.
Hello, Father. May I have a moment?
Of course.
I read all your letters. You never stopped writing them, did you? My birthday, Mother's birthday, every possible occasion, without fail.
Yes.
So why didn't you send any of them? If you had sent even one, we would have...
Each time I thought to send one, I could not do so. Such behavior belittled my penance. Time passed, and with it my feelings of guilt toward you and your mother grew. Even though I wrote the letters, I could not send them.
I would always talk about it with Mother. If only he'd write us at least once, we'd say. We waited and waited. All those long years.
I am sorry.
I'm tired of hearing it, so just stop. Your apologies change nothing. Send those letters to Mother. She'll be happy to hear from you.
I cannot.
In that case, why don't I send them?
I have given them to you. They are yours to do with as you wish.
All right then. I'll send them. You don't get to take it back afterwards. Father, you should know that they made me happy.
Happy?
Knowing that you were thinking of us all along. We were worried about you, Mother and I. Neither of us ever came out and said it, but we thought maybe you hated us. Were trying to forget all about us.
Never. I swear it on His late Majesty and on my homeland.
I see. All right. Then swear. Swear that someday, when this war is over, you'll come back to us.
I hear you, Annette. I will return without fail.
No matter what. That's a promise you just made. If you break it, I'll never speak to you again.
Yes, I promise.
Great. Now I'm positively elated. I can't wait until we're all a family again.
I look forward to it, Annette. More than anything.
The blue sea glimmers in the dark. The red canyon calls.
Oh,
Goddess, reach in dreams. To her throne she falls. To her throne she falls.
There you are, Manuela. That's the old you. Ought to blow Gilbert away any day now. Huh?
oh.
Gilbert, how long have you been there?
Since the beginning of your song. I'm sorry. I did not mean to disturb you.
I don't usually let others watch me practice. Do understand that I was just practicing, Gilbert. It was not a perfect performance, so I demand you erase it from your memory immediately.
I will not. Such a performance would be a shame to forget. You were even livelier than before.
Not again. How can you say that with such an expressionless... Gilbert?
What's the matter?
Gilbert, you're smiling. My goodness.
Your voice must have drawn it from me. Obviously, I was taken by your beautiful voice. And also, your impassioned form.
My form?
You won your challenge, my Lady Manuela. I concede defeat.
What just happened? I was only practicing, and a guarded, handsome, older man. And I'm the only lady who can raise a smile from him? Maybe you've still got it after all, Manuela. Maybe you do.